What up, Cagesiders? I'm not gonna yell because that makes my fiance upset. It's your boy Sean with the General Geno Morasco on the fan voted Day After Raw podcast. I think it won like 30 votes to 13 or something. So we got a ton of fans.
They don't
man.
know what they want.
No, some of them want it on YouTube, iTunes, which I spent about a half an hour last week trying to figure out, and I'll do it again this week.
I've got that figured out. That's coming. That's gonna happen. Yeah, I've made it happen, making it rapping. What's up, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm pretty good. This is I guess officially our wedding ceremony in a way. We're married. It's official.
It happened. It happened just before we clicked start broadcast.
Yeah, it did. So I'm not fiance anymore. I'm your husband.
It's my husband.
How you doing, hubby?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
Still call me man.
What do you for dinner? Well, we are who we are. We're not just going to become a stereotype now just because we're married.
Well, I wrote something special for you.
Oh, did you? Okay.
To mark the occasion. Are you ready?
Oh, God, I didn't know we were supposed to write
No, it's
verses.
okay. It's near and dear to my heart, just like you are. So I just wanted to write this for you.
All right.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Please make me a sandwich. So that's just from the heart. I mean, I really thought it through.
It's nice.
And
it's nice.
Seriously, though.
Would a hot dog be okay, or is that?
Oh my God, you took it there. See, I want a divorce because this is just.
I know. Now you can't just fire me. You actually have to divorce me.
I know. I actually have to deal with you.
We're taking shit to a whole nother level.
Just actually have to deal with it, and we also have to actually deal with Raw. Which
well, I will say, to segue there, I found your poem to be a lot funnier than anything Seth Rollins did last night.
My God. Okay, well, you didn't sell for me because you didn't laugh, but
I did. I chuckled.
I'm
not a big demonstrative guy. I'm too mellow. That's what you always tell me.
The Rollins comedy was so bad, dude. Like, okay, it's good because he's a heel, right? Like, that's how they open the show, and he's, but I'm so tired of these fucking 20-minute Seth Rollins opening promos that are just meandering and point. He takes forever to get to the point. And it's healing, and I get all that stuff, but it's just not. We're past that point. Okay, I don't connect with his character at all. Like, at all. He's not standalone entertaining in the same way that a guy like there's not that many who are actually even able to do this, but you send Paul Heyman out, right? Yep. Stand alone with a mic, and he'll entertain you. He'll get you ready. He'll sell a match. Rollins doesn't do that.
You know what? I guess it's about a month now or so that I've really noticed is how much I fucking miss Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury. Because this same promo with the two of them behind him, like doing their stupid shit and acting like he's the funniest man in the world, that would have made it bearable. But just him out there, his delivery's weird. It's not. Yeah. I mean, he's not a good heel. Really? I don't think so. I mean, I think
he's like the army heel.
I guess so. I mean, the shock of him turning on them and everything. At this point, I'm ready for him to go back to. I think he's a better wrestler as a babyface. His move. I mean, he's had to tone his moveset down a lot, not just because of the curb stomp shit, but because he's supposed to be a heel.
You remember when in the Shield right before they broke up too, they were getting into those huge battles with Evolution.
Yep.
And Rollins was the savior, babyface high flyer who would do the crazy shit to get his team back to where they could win the match. And now
He can do Neville like shit. I mean, it's Roth always used to say he's HBK. He can do amazing shit and look like that.
And they've never put him in a position to do those things, though. Is what's
no, yeah.
Even though they've had matches with Ambrose, he's had matches with Ambrose during this run. There's just I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's like the nature of how you have to book a character like this, the way he is, because he really is. He's like that, growing up, you always had like you hang out with a group of people, and there was always that one little fucker who was like smaller than everybody else, but he had a huge mouth.
Yep. And
like he'd just run away. If you ever got your hands on him, you'd fucking pummel him. But you could never get your hands on him. He'd always run his lip and then run away, and then he would boast like he was the greatest thing ever. That's Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
The problem is, on a long enough timeline, you just pull a Glock out and fucking cap the idiot, and you're done with it. Like you can't always be. You have to evolve into something more. I.e., you finally do catch him, and then to your shock and surprise, he beats the fuck out of you.
Right.
So you know what I mean? Like it needs to be something like that. We've never had that moment. It's always look at last night. So I have a huge problem with this show, but because namely that the main angle made literally everyone involved in it look 10 times worse than they did going in. And Rollins especially, because Randy Orton is a big, stupid, dumb idiot. Sheamus is the dumbest ass.
Yeah.
And Rollins should have lost to both of them. That was the whole story they told. That Orton would have won had it not been for Sheamus breaking up a match. And Orton apparently didn't expect this, even though Sheamus had fucking literally just did an interview before the match started saying, "I'm probably going to interrupt this." And then Sheamus was supposed to.
And Sheamus has interrupted everything Orton's done for the last 3 months.
That's their whole
thing, right?
Their whole feud is you have a match, I run in, and right near the end of it, start beating you up, and then we brawl, and then we have a match at the pay-per-view. That's all they do. It's the stupidest shit imaginable. And then Sheamus goes to cash in, and again, Rollins is beat. So he's been beat but not beat by basically the entire roster at this point. And they do the fucking, oh my God, that failed cash in is the worst thing I've seen on WWE television for fucking, dude, seriously, I counted. From the time Sheamus gets in the ring and looks to the ref with the briefcase and starts to say, "I'm cashing in," to the moment that Orton hits him with the RKO is 13 seconds. Now, that might not seem like that much when you say it like that, but remember, it's at times relative. It was a fucking eternity, and it equaled Sheamus screaming, "I'm cashing in." And the referee just looking at him like a deer in the headlights, like, "What'd you cash in? I don't eat. What do you mean?" Like, what in the fucking world is going on? And it's Orton's fault, apparently, because he's supposed to get in the ring and break this up. And I don't know if he was just trying to sell what Sheamus had done on the outside to keep him down so he could go in and cash in. Or I don't know what he was doing.
I don't know. Who's at fault for things like this? And like the Divas thing from Smackdown that Meltzer was talking about yesterday that you wrote about. I mean, that's like an agent thing? I mean, there's a problem with like communicating the people who are putting this shit together and executing it, right? I mean, or you should tell Orton not to fall to the outside on that spot so you don't have to wait 13 seconds to get in the ring.
Well, I think like most things, there's probably a little bit of blame to go around for everybody. You know, with Orton and Sheamus, I'm sure what it essentially boiled down to was, here's what we'll do. You'll go in and you go to cash in. You get Orton on the outside, put him down, get back in the ring, act like you're going to cash in. You'll have a back and forth with the ref for a short time. Orton will come back in and hit the RKO, right? Well, in attempting to do this, there's how much do you sell if you're Orton for what Sheamus had done, and how much time needs to happen in between there to make it believable, and versus, and how do you stall enough to give him time to get back in? And I mean, there's just some, I don't know, maybe just a breakdown in communication as far as.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking is that somebody's not talking to somebody.
Yeah. So I don't know that it could be just as simple as, like you said, you put it together in the back, the agents for the match. Okay, well, here's what we'll do for the finish. Sheamus will run in. He'll hit Orton out. We'll go in and act like he's going to cash it in, and Orton will come back in and break up the cash in. That's probably as much as they said, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, there was just, again, Orton just didn't get in fast enough, and the interaction between Sheamus and the referee was just really awkward and weird, like he's shouting at him, and the referee just looks like he's lost because he's also trying to stall. And it just comes off like, okay, no one really, you get to that point where, you're, okay, we don't know what to do. Because something's supposed to be happening right now, and I'm just not sure, you know what I mean? And that plays out in
television problem too.
Yeah. Yeah, like I always think of there was a Royal Rumble match way back I was watching this the other day. The Hardy Boys against, I don't remember who it was, but remember Rico?
Mm-hmm.
And he was supposed to get on the top rope, and then Jeff Hardy was supposed to hit the rope, and he would rack himself. And he was stalling for fucking ever because Hardy was nowhere to be found. And finally, instead of jump off the rope or improvise or do whatever, he literally screams, "Jeff, what the fuck are you doing?"
I remember this, actually, now that you bring it up. I haven't thought about this in years, yeah.
And then Hardy comes up and hits the rope, and then he goes, and they go about their business. So, yeah. What did you think of the SmackDown stuff? Did you watch the video and stuff?
I went back and watched it. I don't understand why they didn't retape it.
Yeah, that's what baffles me too. But
I mean, they do that on SmackDown from time. I mean, sure, it would get out and we'd talk about it on social media, but at least you're.
No, we wouldn't, because they do it constantly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it depends. If there was a rumor about backstage heat on them, we would go back. We would talk about it or something. But yeah, if they just did it and we didn't know why they did it, no one would have ever had anything to talk about.
Well, and what they've done in the past too is they'll film the match and then decide it's shit, and then just send the guys out later in the show.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't, the live audience, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's SmackDown. It's taped. Who cares?
Exactly.
But a couple things on that real quick before we get back to Raw. On our threads here at Cageside, I've seen this rush. I don't know how this has happened. I'm a Naomi fan.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of ways, I think she's super athletic. She's actually, I don't want to say she's good, because there are problems, right? But that's anybody.
Yeah.
Especially in a situation where you never get the time to get better.
Right.
But I think she's good, and she's got a lot of potential. And I like the heel stuff that she had done when she turned and on Page and all that stuff. I think there's a lot of potential for a lot. Somehow, she's apparently a botch machine who ruins every match that she's in. This is what it looks like on the threads on Cageside now. And she got blamed for this because she's the one who pinned Charlotte, and then starts yelling at Charlotte, kind of reminiscent of Orton yelling at Kingston when there was timing issues. And it's like, okay, she's a heel, so it's not a big deal, but like, she looked legitimately pissed. And like Meltzer said, there was a very real problem. This is not supposed to be the finish. There's a roll up. So apparently it's all Naomi's fault. No. Like anybody who's listening on Cageside, you guys, let's stop doing this. Stop blaming Naomi for everything. It's not all Naomi's. If you don't like her, fine. But let's not act like everything's on her. What appears to have happened is, like I said, it was on everyone involved. Naomi came in and wasn't the legal woman in the match, and the ref just didn't seem to notice or care. She got the pin when she didn't ever tag in. And she actually looks like, at one point when right before they go into the finishing sequence, she kind of looks over at Becky and like kind of waits, and she's got that tension, like she's waiting to get hit from behind. Like Becky's supposed to run in and knock, you know what I mean? Send her out because she's not the legal person in the match. And Becky just sits there. I love Becky Lynch. This pains me to talk about her screwing up apparently, but she's just like selling and just hanging out. So Charlotte, they do the roll up and Naomi reverses and they get the pin and everybody's like, okay. And the referee's taught to just count a pin. It's not on the referee to, you know what I mean? That like we talked about with the streak.
It's on the wrestlers to break it up.
You need to know what you're doing.
That's a level of realism. Yeah.
Yeah. And he counts to 3 and then that's over and everyone's like, what the fuck? So apparently the only person who didn't screw up here was Sasha Banks. Just go ahead and revel in it.
Hey, she's good. I thought she was all a little bit off last night in their match, not to jump around too much. And I will say, I don't know. The internet does a weird thing where they hype somebody up and then they backlash them. And going back to before the NXT like women's thing came on, a lot of people saw Naomi as like the hope for the women's division. I think, because she does have a lot of that promise that you talk about. She's got some fire to her promos. I hate to say it because it's the trite thing to say about, any black performer, but she's athletic as hell. She can jump.
Dude, it's true.
I mean, she is. She's got some hops. She's got some nice moves. So I think a lot of people thought that she was going to be like the next big thing. And I think they kind of built her up for that, and then they pulled back, and now it's the backlash. Now it's she's either the greatest or she sucks. So now we're on the she sucks part. And the thing that I didn't like about the thing that struck me as like being unprofessional about the SmackDown thing is she shouldn't have like visibly lost it on camera.
I agree. That part is definitely.
I still think, like the fact that they didn't retape it, and the fact that they left all that shit in there, that I can't not think about like the backstage rumors that we hear about how people are trying to make them look bad. Like the fact that this is the product that they went ahead and rolled out says to me, yeah, somebody in a producer's chair back there said, yeah, let's make sure this crap gets on television.
Yeah, because, and that's not like, we're not trying to be conspiracy theorists, certainly, but again, what good does this do for anyone?
Right. Just like with the Raw main event, like you said, everybody came out of that looking bad.
Or what's worse is you didn't notice the botch.
Yeah.
And in fairness, I didn't really. I
thought it was weird when I watched. Yeah. I didn't watch SmackDown live, but when I watched the replay and the clips, I did think it looked weird, but I didn't think it was like noteworthy until I saw the Observer stuff start going around yesterday.
And how problematic is that?
Yeah.
That it's there are clear issues. If you're paying enough attention, you'll see how bad it is. But if you're not, you're just so used to A, not paying close enough attention, and B, when you are watching, you can just and any worse than what they normally do.
Well, there's two things for me on that. One is I've been trained to not pay too much attention to Divas matches. I've also been trained to not pay too much attention to SmackDown. That's why most of the time I watch it in YouTube clips. And if somebody says this was a great match or this was a hot angle, I'll punch it up on Hulu and watch the whole thing. But SmackDown is not something that is like vital to my viewing experience. So I wasn't thinking much about it.
Yeah, there was no better moment there's been a lot better moments in my Cageside career, but I can't express the joy I felt when I realized I found someone to live blog it and found someone to recap it. I don't have to deal with this shit anymore. Awesome. Because there's nothing to deal with. Sometimes they do good things. They put on, good shows or whatever, but it's not, you can miss it and you're fine.
Yep.
So it's hopefully that'll change when it goes to USA, and that's we hear that's the plan, but we heard that was the plan for Thursday,
right?
And we heard it was the plan when Brian wanted to be the guy who carries SmackDown as the Intercontinental Champ. So things change in a hurry, but
and it's kind of become the Reigns show too, which is supposed to be their big top guy still. So I mean, he main events that show every week.
I guess, like I said in the Raw recap,
that's why Tanya loves it.
It is fucking baffling that they've ever created a single star with the way they book these people. Yep. I just don't understand. And, the Divas are the same thing. Now we're getting a tag team trios elimination match, and nothing is on the line. Like,
nope.
I would be okay with this, and you'd sell me if you say the winner, the last woman standing, gets the title shot, which would add a whole new layer of intrigue, right? And it would just create purpose where there is none. And again, we're getting real close to Night of Champions is, I believe, the day she ties it, right?
It's right around there. I don't know if that's the exact. I mean, it depends on how they do the math because they can always kayfabe it. But yeah, it's right around there.
Maybe she ties it on Raw the next night or something like that.
Something like that. It's either the Raw before or the Raw after would be.
The record-breaking day is not a TV day, or maybe if it's Raw, it would be SmackDown, but they don't. It doesn't air till Thursday. How easy would it be to just do that? To say that whoever gets the winning pinfall gets the title shot, and then you create potential issues within the teams, and it just adds an entirely new layer to actually telling a story that, again, they're currently not telling.
Right.
Which that was another thing. It was so bad, they had the botched finish on SmackDown, okay, whatever, and then you go to Raw, and they book a silly tag match that's just standard, whatever, and like you said, it was good in the sense that it wasn't that bad, but it was bad in the sense that, like, even Nikki and Sasha were off. I think there was one point where Sasha went to kick Nikki in the stomach, and Nikki went to catch it and missed, and they both just sort of were like,
Right, they sort of fell into the corner, yep.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, come on, that's ugly. And these are the two best of the division that
Which, in their defense, if you're trying to work around Brie and Tamina,
but they weren't.
Got your work cut out for you. I mean, they're in the match. They're involved and they're horrible.
That's fine.
So yeah,
and that's part of you just lump everybody together and everybody looks like shit. No one's going to stand out. You're not giving anyone a chance to really shine here. The best thing about that entire, all the divas on Raw was just Becky Lynch sitting on commentary, and every time they cut over to show Team PCB, which is the dumbest thing in history.
Yeah.
Every time they cut to show them, she just had this relaxed, I don't give a fuck manner about her that I've just made me fall in love with her that much more. So the only person I care about in this is the person who doesn't give a shit about anything that's going on around her. That's amazing.
So you guys have something in common. You don't give a shit about anything that's going on in the ring. Yeah, there's no stakes. They don't have characters. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's everything that I was worried about when they showed up on that Monday night.
Yeah. A good question to ask in pro wrestling is, why are we fighting?
Yep.
Right.
And this is where, Jim Cornette rails on this, and he's a crazy old man and everything, but he's got a point. I mean, that used to be what pro wrestling was about creating that tension and telling that story. And partially because of us in the internet community, it's more about putting on this spectacle of a match now. And there's nothing wrong with that. You should be able to do both, but they've gotten lazy. They've gotten lazy about telling that story. And
it's this reality bullshit. It's not a good thing. It has not.
But it could be. It's not you can't just blame the reality. I mean, you could do that. Like the Daniel Bryan story incorporated reality elements. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens incorporates it. But you can't just lean on it.
Okay, but it still worked entirely separate from reality.
True. Yes.
It works as a standalone fictional story. That's what they need to worry about. Don't incorporate reality into it.
Right.
Stop doing this. It's not, again, because it's that old, talk about why Vince Russo's bullshit never worked, the shoot stuff. It's because you're literally saying all this other stuff's bullshit, but this is real.
Right.
And you can't do that with your story. It just confuses. It's like you're reading a book. And one chapter treats everything as legit, and the next chapter kind of laughs at the other chapter, and you feel stupid for having invested in that chapter at all. And it's like, well, this one's real. That one was bullshit. But then the next chapter is about the thing that was about chapter one where it was bullshit. So you're supposed to reinvest in that? Come on, you're just confusing everything by being this way about these stories. The Divas Revolution story legitimately is quite literally, they're not even winking at the audience. They're just telling you, we're going to let them wrestle for longer.
Yep.
Enjoy this. Fuck you. You're not telling a story. You're not doing anything that's worthwhile. Like, they had a match that devolved into a brawl, and then they brawled, and they had a stare down after the brawl. Are you fucking serious? Who booked it? Like, what? Why?
That's how it always works, right? On the schoolyard, right? You beat the crap out of each other, and then you just stare at each other calmly.
And then you stare each other down like you're going to do something, even though you had just done something. Oh, my God. So much about Raw yesterday was so awful. And you told me before we went on the air that you thought the show wasn't that bad. And this was I think a D+.
You gave it a D+, yeah.
And that was almost solely because of Rusev and Summer. Ruru and Ray, baby.
Well, to me, that's, I guess, because like I said, as we're talking about it, the stuff that pissed you off pissed me off. But Ruru and Ray have my heart. The Bulgarian flag with Rusev on it is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
And in Raw Fallout, hang on real quick. In Raw Fallout, they actually, I'm going to post this. They do an interview with him, and Summer says something or whatever, and then he's like, but wait, how about that flag, though? He actually says it exactly like that, too. He's talking to Tom Phillips. He's like, but how about that flag, though? Like that flag, though. And then he goes back into the accent like he's like, but how about this flag? It is good. Rusev Budria.
That storyline is crap, but he is killing it. I love that guy.
It's fucking amazing. Him and Summer, even Summer, pay attention to her in the background in this interview that I'm going to post. She's fantastic.
And that's the thing. Going back to, I've been watching NXT for too long, but when she was sort of the top heel on there, she was never a great wrestler. She was better when she was down there working more often, but it was always the character stuff. And they just have never paid that off on Raw on the main roster, and they're finally doing it. They're finally doing it.
That accolade? Jesus Christ, I thought she was going to break Lana's back. I was like, oh my God, I feel so bad for poor Lana. It's like, wait a minute, the angle worked.
It did. They finally
got revenge.
They finally got a face reaction for somebody against Rusev.
And Lana's really not all that sympathetic to be.
No.
Yeah, no. But man, I still want Lana and Rusev to get back together because I believe in a thing called love and all that bullshit. But,
well, I want Lana to do something other than hang out with Dolph Ziggler. I don't even miss Ziggler. So
tape machines are rolling, shortened to tape machines. Mm-hmm. Scott Christ, our good buddy, put it perfectly. Said he hates when she talks about Dolph because she suddenly becomes like a 13-year-old girl who has an infatuation with a celebrity. Yes, Dolph. And like she fangirls. And there's nothing less attractive than fangirling. And I understand that or fanboying. I understand that I do this with Becky Lynch. I totally get that. And I know that it is just the least attractive thing and the most annoying thing in the world. I get that. But like, it shouldn't be that way when it's two characters in a relationship with you. You know what I mean? It's not like...
And it also, and we've talked about this, it goes against everything that established her character until this angle. Like, she was not someone who would ever fangirl about anything. She didn't even fangirl about Rusev.
Sure.
And now all of a sudden she's a giggling whatever.
And would the strong female character that she represented at first even be interested in a guy like who Dolph Ziggler represents himself to be?
No.
I just don't. You know what I mean? I don't know. You don't
I mean,
pick who you fall in love with, but
it worked at the very beginning of it when they were acting like they were just using each other for sex and jealousy. But no, not that she would actually fall for him. No, it doesn't make it doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah, which is why I hope that it ultimately comes out that she, again, she's, I wasn't in love with him. I was on the rebound. I was trying to deal with getting away from things, but my heart's always been with Rusev, and he was just a dick, which is true, and you should get away from that. But people can change and, go back and say he has changed, and they run the angle, and it'd be great. And Summer would be perfect for it because she's so good in all of this. If you're watching this and don't appreciate Summer and Rusev and the work that they're doing, you don't know what you're looking at. I'm just going to talk down to you. Yeah, I'm doing it. Because they're fantastic, man.
Yeah. Well, I haven't run into anybody that doesn't like what they're doing, honestly, really. Which
I run into people who don't like the characters, and it somehow becomes the performance is bad. You got to understand.
Well, then they're getting confused. Yeah. Don't get it twisted, dogs.
Yeah. So back to the main event stuff. Kevin Owens. So they run the opening segment, and then it devolves into, again, you don't have any Brock Lesnar on this show. You don't have Undertaker. You don't have John Cena. So they have to make up for this. So the way they make up for this is Seth Rollins comes out, and he just fucking yaps for forever and calls John Cena John and does bad comedy, whatever, fine. He's a heel, whatever. He'll get his comeuppance.
They do the Conan O'Brien thing with the picture with Rollins'
mouth moving. And you know it's Rollins because he's got those little weird teeth.
Yep.
And out comes Cesaro, and apparently the missing piece to the Cesaro puzzle was a pair of sunglasses. Got him. We got him, guys. Wait, I figured it out. Everyone.
Vince said there was something missing, and he didn't know what it was.
Put sunglasses on him and have him wear them indoors. Well, he's too cool for school. They might as well put that on his forehead. Too cool for school, everybody. And he comes, and shit was real. Because apparently this is a new character mannerism that he'll do. Cuts his promo, which was good. He's a good.
He's all right. He's a capable talker. Yeah.
When he's comfortable, And then what was it? He basically turned into what's his name, Horatio from the CSI show. We're gonna have a match. Glasses go up tonight. Oh my God! Please don't continue to do this, WWE. Please don't. It's awful. KO comes out, Kevin Owens. And he says things, and it doesn't matter because he's been booked into oblivion. And then Randy Orton comes out, and at this point it was, fuck, if you have a mic and some entrance music, just get in there.
Yeah.
And stops to make sure he calls Kevin Owens fat. And I want to know if you think, like I think, like the rumors are, that this is deliberate. It's deliberate now, isn't it? Because that's 3 different guys who have said something about Kevin Owens' weight. No matter their character alignment. If they're heel, babyface, anybody.
Well, here's how you know it's deliberate, because everybody on the show currently, or who has ever worked for Vince, talks about how one of the big things, a problem or a characteristic of the show now is that every fucking word is scripted. So they would not allow 3 separate guys to say that unless it was on the fucking paper.
No, now I'm saying, do you think it's Vince sending a message?
Yes. I mean, I think it's it's a decision. We're going to make sure everybody thinks that this guy is fat.
It's not, and someone said, I said, this is very, in the recap, I said, this is very clearly Vince sending a very clear message. And the guy said, or he's fat, and it's just an easy insult.
I think they're both true, probably. I mean,
okay, but again, it's a babyface talking to a heel.
I know.
But
that's an ongoing, WWE problem.
But it also
babyfaces who say horrible shit.
True, but to to pretend that that's all it is ignores everything we know about Vince.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
That's to ignore that, like, Piggy James.
And again, we don't know it to be true, but where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, we hear these reports of this, this backstage power struggle between Vince and, presumably Kevin Dunn and anybody that Triple H is trying to push up through NXT. And this is how you let shitty Divas match. You let an easily fixed gaffe in a Divas match go on national television, and you make sure that every kind of character on earth says that you're the guy that you just built your promotion around for 6 months, Kevin Owens. You make sure that we run him down as a fat guy.
Yeah,
that's like I said, where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, there's a lot of evidence that says there's something going on here, and it's not just that's the easy insult.
Who you are will ultimately come out, right? At your core. And you can change. I have no doubt about that. And you can become something better. But, he's not suddenly going to change how he feels about, like, I shouldn't say who you are so much as I should say when you're really passionate about something, that can help guide your decision making and influence your thought process when it comes to evaluating something with and without that lens, right? We tend to support things. We tend to find, so we hold beliefs and we tend to look at things in a way that helps reinforce those beliefs instead of go against them, right? That's a human trait. We all do this. It's not a good thing to do because it hinders learning and growth and understanding, right?
Yeah, it's confirmation bias, right? You look for stuff that validates your worldview.
And we all do this, and it's not a good thing to do, but whatever. So Vince made his money on Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
On big juiced up guys with bodies that, and he's a bodybuilder.
Exactly.
And he has a fetish for that. And he thinks that that's what real men should look like. Real men don't look like Kevin Owens. They just don't. He booked Dusty Rhodes the way he did, right? Not complimentary.
Mm-mm.
There are a lot of reasons for that, but you bet your ass it had something to do with how he looked.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be a point when that just suddenly changes. Kevin Owens is fucked, guys. That's all there is to it. He's not going to be the guy. This is a company that found a way to, on television, call CM Punk fat.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. How does that boggles the mind? There's no definition in the world that CM Punk is fat.
And we've talked to WWE writers who were there, not rumor, a guy who was standing there while that kind of stuff was going on backstage before it ever made it onto television. So like you're saying, is it deliberate? Probably, because that's how it was with Punk.
And Punk
it went from ribbing backstage to on-screen stuff. So this has probably gone the same way.
And Punk just did the interview with Rolling Stone recently. We didn't even cover it because there's not much new in there. Yeah. But, it said it's vicious politics, dude. It's not about who's the best. It's vicious fucking politics at play backstage. And he knows this because it's just they're burying the guy. Fuck him. It doesn't look the way he needs to look, whatever. That's where Kevin Owens is.
Yep.
He is a fat guy. And it's funny, too, when it's like he came in and he had those great matches and it was almost like a smoke screen. It was almost like convince you of something that isn't there. Well, now I seen a comment that I thought was actually really interesting. Let's look at it with different eyes now that with hindsight. Comes in, hyped, beats John Cena. Loses to John Cena. Falls down the card, works against the guy that they buried on a podcast and said that he doesn't have it, is now in the midst of being called a fat ass at every turn.
Mm-hmm.
That's his career arc in WWE so far. Is that successful? Does that look good to you? The matches with Cena were great, so it paints things and it's really weird. But, doesn't that kind of show you that they never really at any point had him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because and especially if he could have those matches with Cena. Match of the year contenders. And this is what they're doing with him still.
I mean, my counter to that, I guess, is that he is. I mean, my counter to that is sort of a slam on us too. Is that we got worked. mean, he's making some money because he moved a hell of a lot of merchandise and he's still on TV and blah, blah, blah. But they worked us. They got us all excited. And all it took was they let him beat Cena clean once, and then they could do whatever they want to him. They worked us.
Yeah, he came in and beat Cena clean, and
we bought into it.
So
and
exciting! Don't you ever fucking this and that. Don't ever try to give Kevin Owens advice. And now Kevin Owens doesn't have a match at SummerSlam, and John Cena has a broken nose, and who knows when he's coming back. And he's got a WWE World Heavyweight Title match at SummerSlam.
Yep.
How about that?
How about them apples? Yep.
Anyway, yeah. So Owens looks bad because he's fat, and they just want to harp on it and act like he's shitty when he's not. And it gets sucked so bad because he's so good. God, he's so good, and it's just he could be so much more if they just fucking learn. Cesaro's got sunglasses indoors. Now both those guys lose a triple threat match against Randy Orton. Orton wins that triple threat match, which no one in the world wanted to happen. But then, like we talked about in the main event, goes on to lose to Rollins because he doesn't pay enough attention to understand that Sheamus is definitely going to run in on any match that he's involved in. And then foils Sheamus, who looks dumb because of how he was foiled and the fact that he took 25 years to cash in the damn briefcase. And even the fucking referee looks dumb because he just has no idea what's going on. And Rollins was nearly beat twice by both of these people. So essentially, what is that? 5 guys?
6, right?
6? Rollins,
Sheamus, or no, 5. You're right. And if you count the ref,
let's count the ref. 6 guys. Boy, I don't know how you could make anyone look worse.
My only argument to that is that I don't know that Rollins looked any worse because because it's hard to make him look worse. I mean, he already
looked like dog shit.
He's already a chicken shit that can barely beat Neville. And I love Neville, but in story, he's not a top guy. So
he was an inch away from Rollins' foot not being on the rope and winning the fucking world title on a Raw. Man, I don't understand it. Like, again, it's the 50-50 booking. They're so scared to death to put anybody over, but they're also so scared to death to make anyone look too bad.
Right. And so nothing means anything.
So no one looks good at all.
Yep. So other stuff that I did like.
Yeah, let's talk about stuff we maybe did like.
So there's 3 big reasons why I sort of, in my head, mostly because I blocked out a lot of this crap we just got done talking about. The Rusev stuff, anything involving the New Day, except for their booking. But they're the same thing as Rusev. Their story sucks, but they're a joy to watch. I thought the Stephen Amell stuff came off really well. I was fired up for it.
Man, I was really probably number 2 on the celebrity involvement list.
I mean, I'm a big comic book nerd. Everybody knows that. But I've tried to watch that show, and I can't get into it, partially because I think he's a horrible actor. But I thought he cut a hell of a promo last night. I thought he was good. Yeah, I'm psyched for that match. I don't understand why Wade Barrett's in it, but that's a whole nother sad story. I mean, he's in it to take the pin.
Yeah, I put that on Twitter. That's what everybody said. Someone's got to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought Hugh Jackman is still the gold standard as far as guest appearances go, but yeah, he looked athletic and he jumped in and a nice little double leg takedown, some solid punches, and and then even the interaction with Triple H. He's cheesy. Like you said, he's not the greatest actor, but this is pro wrestling. That shit's gold in pro wrestling. And
he's totally into it. He was tweeting afterwards. He was tweeting pictures of his fists with Stardust's makeup on it. I mean, he's fully in. This angle's fun. It's fun, and that's okay. And there's actually a fucking story to it. It's a weird story, but there is one.
A super cool story, too, that I really like the angle they're taking with Stardust, where he's just totally...
I mean, this has to be the end of the Stardust character, though, right?
Yes, it does. Well, he's going to have to realize that it's not real.
Right.
Like, his whole thing is that, like, he's gotten immersed in this, like, superhero world, and that's the reality, and everyone else is fucked up.
Right.
Which is just a super cool story to be telling, and, like... Not surprisingly, that gets the least amount of focus on the shows. And instead, it's Divas Revolution in 20 minutes and fucking no one cares and there's no stakes and they have brawls and then stare downs.
I mean, think how cool this story would have been if they hadn't aborted the Goldust thing, and this was part of it. Like Goldust was fighting to get his brother back.
He got hurt, remember? He had to go have surgery.
Well, but even before that, the story was that Vince thought there wasn't any heat to it, so he killed it.
Yeah.
But if they had gone through that, and like Goldust was fighting to get his brother back, but he put over Stardust on the way out. So Stardust, that's a reason why he's still into this. And then he's got the Neville feud, and we slowly watch him slip farther and farther away. And then this is the big payoff instead of something that feels kind of like they pulled it together in 3 weeks. And it's still awesome. Yeah, that could have been cool. I mean, it is cool, but it could have been a lot better.
And even, I feel like a lot of times they focus too much on on stars, and again, you have to create stars, and I understand that. And, Steve Austin was a big star, and, they're going to make you a lot of money and whatever and whatnot, and that's fine. But if you just tell the story, I feel like when you have a good story like that, I feel like you can tell that, and yeah, maybe it's not getting a ton of heat at first, and maybe it's not getting over in a huge way at first, but I think that's the kind of thing you just have to stick with that, and people will get invested in it. Like you said, that's a good story that Stardust is slipping into this whole different world, and not that I would want them to use Dusty's death in an angle,
right? I don't think you have to, though.
Yeah, but they could. Even could, as far as it's just made him slip that much further. And Goldust, that's something people can connect to, because, when you respond to trauma, again, we're human beings, and you can connect to, everyone deals with that kind of stuff in a different way. And maybe he's just slipped off, and he's a heel. So as he slipped off and he just became evil, and it made him go that much further into this world. I need a hero to be opposite my villain, but he does need a hero. He's just lost his father. Yep. And so you can have all these layers added to it. And Goldust is the voice of reason, and he's his brother. He's someone who cares about him, and he's being hurt and beaten in matches. And it's, that builds him up as a very sympathetic character. And it's just a really good story overall that you just devote some time to. Yeah, maybe in front of a live audience, they're not popping for, these big spots, and, they're not, you're not booking it like there's all these big moments. But that's a really good story. If you make movies, like you always like to say, how fucking good would that be? And now here we're getting to the end of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, what that makes me think too is, like you were saying, I mean, I think you're right. You can't book the reality bullshit. But like with this, if you book a good story on its own and some of the reality stuff sort of coincides to add a layer, which I think that's why, don't wink at it. Just, it's there. I think that's why, like, some of the Owens Zayn stuff works so well on NXT. They didn't really build it on their personal stuff, but when it connected, I mean, everything you needed was right there. If you were brand new to NXT, you got it. These guys hate each other. It's all there. They put it out in the promos and in the story. But if you knew more, you got more.
Cool. Yeah, cool. That's great. It's like Easter eggs.
Yep.
You're aware of them, it's that much more enjoyable. But you're not, you can still enjoy it.
Right.
That's the problem with the reality area. I feel like they think, to a certain degree, you need, it like the Russo stuff. Again, some of that stuff can be fun, and it can be cool, and it can be interesting. But it requires a certain level of understanding of the business that so many don't have.
Right.
You're playing to a much smaller audience when you do that. And even then, those people don't want that. It's interesting for us to do. We have that on Cageside Seats. We have that here. We'll get on here and talk about the business. But when I turn Raw on, I don't want to talk about the business within the construct of what you're doing on the show. I don't watch the show for you to talk about, heaters and heels and baby faces and, working an angle and who's living the gimmick and all this shit. Now, they do that with Cody and they say, you're living the gimmick, as we like to say. Yeah. But it's Cody Rhodes is a character on the show. Right. And now you're Stardust.
It's so weird because the audience that gets that stuff that you're talking about, those sorts of angles and using that terminology, that's the people that they make fun of all the time in interviews and stuff. We're the nerds in the basement. We're the ones that get that stuff. So why are you catering to us in these confusing these storylines that are confusing your mainstream fans that you're making movies for?
And those are the people who will be there no matter what you do.
Exactly.
We will boo the hell out of Reigns and make your life miserable, but guess what? We're buying tickets.
Yep, we'll be here next Monday night.
I'm watching your show. Don't cater to me.
So frustrating.
So yeah, that's a big problem they're having with, and really, I bet if we went down, maybe I'll do this for a post or something this weekend because SummerSlam's next weekend. Just here are all the major feuds, angles, stories that are going right now. What's the story?
Yep.
And just try to find a story within all of them. I bet I struggle.
I try to do that with the previews, and I struggle every fucking week.
You do a great job, though.
I mean, just to try it, and but it's frustrating. I mean, it's like, and we end up, and God bless it, because that's why you and I get paid to basically get to talk and write about wrestling, which we both love to do. But it's because we have to figure out these stories. It's not just presented to us. We shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have a job. You should be able to turn Raw on a Monday night and get everything you need. But you can't.
Well, there's always something to analyze, and
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I feel like a lot of times we have to extrapolate instead of just analyze. Yeah.
We're doing it for them. We're figuring out what it is.
And not just us. I mean, everybody, the whole community. That's what we do. I mean, some of the best fan posts we've ever had have been people like infusing angles with shit that WWE didn't.
We helped Big Pale get a job.
Yep.
Because he wrote an awesome look at the Undertaker Lesnar thing and took the streak was broken and said they've been telling us this all along. And I don't know that was their intention.
No.
Of the story they had told. But it's ultimately what came out of it, and he wrote an awesome post that did bonkers numbers. And yeah, he actually has a job now where he gets paid to write about pro wrestling at another website. So, yeah, congratulations to him on that. Yeah.
Yep.
Can I not to get off here? What happened to your neck?
I don't know, man. It's some sort of rash. Isn't that weird? It's fucked up. Yeah, it itches. It's not a hickey. I wish.
Sean,
you weren't that rough last night.
Have you been cheating on me?
On our wedding night? No, man. Come on.
I saw you and Roth on Twitter
talking
about loving each other.
You and Roth were going to play gay chicken.
Is there something you need to tell me? I don't mind if you lie to me. Okay.
I thought we were all in this together. You, me, and Matt Roth. I thought we were
too. I'd like to play gay chicken. I said, dude, you will lose because I don't care if I kiss you. I'm going to kiss you deeply. What are you talking about? There's no game of chicken here. I'm kissing you. This is happening.
Yeah, I think we were all in it together.
For sure.
Yeah. What else happened? I don't think
there was anything else from Raw that's worth getting into even. What else did happen on Raw? You got the pulled up? The recap.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm looking at it. I don't like I said, I think the New Day are just a joy. But
yeah, they're just fun to watch. People said talk about them. What do we say? They're great. I love them. Gyrating and moving his hips turned me on in the weirdest way imaginable, and I loved it.
But there's nothing else to talk about. I mean, there's no story to that division either. I mean, it's just that they're going to have 4 teams fight each other because they're too lazy to actually build conflict between anybody.
Yeah, entertaining act fights less entertaining act and is entertaining.
I mean, there's I don't know. I don't really have anything new to say about the Reigns, Wyatt, Ambrose, Harper stuff. I mean, that was not a good match.
Yeah, the backstage interview was really interesting. Ambrose talking about needing a buddy, and he's finally got a friend. He never had friends before, and he's finally got a friend, and it comes in handy when you need bailed out of Laredo, Texas, or really any Mexican border town, which I thought was a really good line. And Reigns is like, whoa, wait, what? How do I like my coffee? A little bit of sugar. How do I like I don't even water. Ice cold. I don't know what's it was just so And then he got done and Reigns was like, boom, and turns and walks away. And I'm like, bro, you're the cheesiest motherfucker on earth.
He really is.
Like I said, he's become the guy who hangs out with the crew and we're like, all right, he's okay, I guess, but we're really only going to let him hang because he rolls with Ambrose. And Ambrose is the fucking man.
He, to me, and I'll get some heat for this probably, but he's the guy, like, I hung out with a couple of guys like him in college because he's just a really good-looking motherfucker. So people will come over. Women will talk to you as a group because he is standing there with you. But if he opens his mouth, it's all over because he's an idiot.
Boom! Roman, dude, never say that again. Never do that again. Never make that face. Stop trying to act cool. You're cool if you're just you.
Right. You're cool, quieter than you are. Right. Yeah. You're a stoic badass.
Just whatever you would normally do, just don't think to do something to make yourself look cool. Just sort of be who you exist. You'll be cool by simply existing. And and he's got beer money. Ambrose never has. Yeah.
True.
Ambrose is not fiscally responsible, and Roman's probably got some beer money on it. So let's keep him around.
So that's going on, and I think that's it though.
So that's happening.
That's happening. Well, Roman got hit in the head with a briefcase. You want to talk about that at all? That's a weird ass story.
We actually had some friends of the site live on the scene. Jessa, who's a friend of the site, and I think Sarah was there too, and she was reporting on it for us and telling us all about what happened because she was like right at their front row. I guess a fan was in there, and there's some competing stories going around. It's weird. A fan was in there, and he had a briefcase. I guess he snuck it in because they weren't selling it there. And he just had it, and there's, she sent a picture. You can see it right in front of them, and they're battling on the outside. And I guess they were trying to hand it to him to get him to use it within the match. And of course they wouldn't do that because, of course, fucking not. You people are nuts.
Right.
Again, don't touch the wrestlers. I know you want to. You want to be close. You want to act like you're friends with these people. They're a big deal because they're celebrity. Sit down. Back the fuck off. They're just people. Quit it with the hero.
They're trying to do their job. Yeah.
They're just doing their job. Like, enjoy the entertainment, enjoy the characters and everything they do, but stop making these people so big in your own mind that you'll die just to get the chance to touch them, and you'll lose all semblance of respect for your fellow human being. Leave them the fuck alone, okay? But no, so he wants them to use it, and they don't. They ignore it. And apparently the crowd starts egging him on, telling him to cash it in, which I don't know what that means. I guess he thinks it means chuck it at him. So that's ultimately what happens. He just picks the briefcase up and he throws it in the ring. And I had read one story, which was that he wanted to throw it in there, and again, hopes that they would use it. I guess maybe, I don't know. But the moment it just came together perfectly. Reigns is on his knees. Wyatt's getting ready to throw a punch, maybe, or a kick, or something like that, and the briefcase just collides on the side directly with the back of his skull. It
is an amazing shot. I mean, that's
a primetime dime, as a fucking dime. So, yeah, man. And then Reigns had to recover for a couple minutes, and security ran over, and they grabbed the guy. And I guess there was also a chant to throw him out.
Mm-hmm.
So probably the same people telling him to cash it in are now chanting to throw him out.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, Jessica told us that it was really weird and awful, and it sucked. And Roman looked legitimately dazed and didn't really hang around much after. Like, they tend to do at house shows. They'll hang out with the people, and people who are ringside, take some pictures and stuff. Somebody got a picture, but yeah, he looked kind of out of it. And yeah, don't do this shit, guys.
I mean, that's just, I mean, thank God this was just a goofball with the thing. I mean, it's amazing that something hasn't happened like the Monica Seles thing a bunch of years ago or something. I mean, these guys are really.
What's the Monica Seles thing?
Oh, I forgot how young you were. I think it was at the U.S. Open. She got stabbed. She's a tennis player.
I am young.
Yeah.
She just got stabbed.
Yeah.
By a fan? Just ran out, stabbed her ass?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Crazy people.
I
mean, you're that close, and wrestlers interact with the crowd so often, and they're not doing background checks on these fuckers before they let them in.
Yeah. I had two thoughts, which was, a Money in the Bank briefcase from WWE Shop costs $75.
Yeah.
So I said, how do you justify that expense? I'm not okay. I come from a poor family. I have a family of 7. I lived in a trailer for most of my life, man. We never had money. Came up, it was a hard life kind of thing. I've been poor forever. Thankfully now, Cageside, and all you Cagesiders, thank you so much. I love you. You helped me pay for the house that I'm in now, and food and all that good stuff. But yeah, I could not imagine spending $75 for a fucking Money in the Bank briefcase.
Well, plus, I mean, floor seats aren't cheap even to a house show, right? I mean, he invested in this scheme.
He invested in this, and why would you then spend that money to throw the fucking thing and never have it again?
Well, didn't he decorate it? I mean, that was on Reddit? I don't know. Is that true that he had it all decorated up for Sasha?
Yeah, that's what I'd seen. That was what's going around. I don't know. I can't confirm that. I don't know if that's...
I mean, because that's the other. Because like you said, there are a couple versions. There's the one you laid out, but then I've also read online that it was decorated up for Sasha, and that he was tweeting around, or like he was on social media ahead of time saying he was going to do it.
Yeah, I'd seen that too. I'd retweeted.
I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah.
Either way, it's just like I don't understand. How do you justify $75 for a Money in the Bank briefcase, which the wrestlers themselves don't like? They hate that fucking thing. It's a rib on guys that they have to carry that thing around, and you're gonna buy one. for 75. If it was $10,
maybe.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
It's 10 bones. Again, I'm not saying like, okay, it sounds bad because, okay, you're passionate about whatever you're passionate about. You like what you like. If it brings you joy and happiness, fucking do it. Hell yeah, I love that. That's great. I don't that seems so pricey to me. But then again, I come from a poor family, so I went to buy a pair of shoes and I was like, maybe I'll get some Nikes, and they were like $170, and I was like, what fucking world do you live in? I'm not paying $170 for a pair of shoes. You can kiss my ass.
Yeah. I don't know. You got me worked up. That was like your Hard Times promo. I was ready.
It's like, what? That's just like, man, is this what Nikes cost? Like,
I don't know how people. I mean, this is a total tangent we're off on now. I don't know how people. I mean, I grew up middle class, and I do. This is not my only job. I do okay, but I don't know how people fucking do it. I don't know. I mean, just spend the money on the shit that they spend money on, like $170 shoes and $75 props from wrestling shows, and it's expensive.
I'm also a minimalist. If you ever come to my house, Sean, that'd be cool if you did.
Someday. Now that we're married, we should probably see where each other lives.
Yeah. I'm a minimalist, man. Like I don't have, my living room right now, there's a chair, a couch, 2 bookshelves, and a TV. That's it, dude. Like that's what's in here. Like that's all. I don't own things, and I'm kind of, not that I would ever support the message of Fight Club sends, but I totally agree with Tyler Durden's. We spend or we work jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need.
Yep.
I have no fucking what I'll do every 6 months or so is I'll go through all my belongings and I'll just get rid of all the shit that I don't need. What the fuck purpose is this for? What do I have this for? I don't need it. I don't want it. What could you possibly do with a money in the bank briefcase?
It just takes up space in your house.
Yeah, like what is this for? And they're like, well, and if it gives you joy,
right?
Cool, that's great. But I don't understand materialistic shit like that. It's just never been who I am. I'm not attached. I like connections with people. I like, things like that. Something where you can build some sort of relationship with another person. That's tangible for me. Not like an object. There's nothing there. It's just a thing. Not
Good
worth
for you, man.
Good.
No, I'm serious because that's been something that I've had to especially when I was younger. I spent a lot of money on and that's what I'd like define myself by my stuff. Fight Club was actually pretty fucking meaningful moment in my life when I read that book.
Really?
Because I was like, it was all about collecting shit and like having, and I didn't really spend a whole lot of time worried about who I was. It was more what I had.
You're not your job.
I'm not. Yep. And so now
you're not your fucking khakis.
Nope.
Yeah. It's a good message though.
Yeah. That and Train Spotting is the other one I'm a big fan of too.
Nice.
Not so much the heroin addiction, but the other parts. But yeah. So I can definitely relate to people who are like that. But
there's also
it made me really miserable to be that way. So I think it's better if people sort of.
But it's also people are different in at different points in their life where I can't justify.
Like you said, people can change. Right.
I've never had the money.
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't be this way if I never had to worry about right. So even today, if I go out and buy, I'm going to get a PlayStation 4 here soon because I'd really like to do that. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the store and it's $400.
Yep. And
even today, I have that. I can do that. It's not going to kill me. It's not going to break me. I'll still be able to make all my bills. I live comfortably. But I'll still look at that and go, fuck, that's a chunk of change. $400 is a lot of money to me. That is a lot of money. There are people who maybe buy a briefcase, money in the bank briefcase for $75 who think it's $75. Who gives a shit?
Right.
They have money, right? Or they come from money. And so it's, I try to be understanding for stuff like that, but yeah, I just don't.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how if as your success grows and you make more money too, because I've had jobs where I made a lot of money and I've had jobs where I make a very little amount of money. You always sort of learn how to spend what you have. At least I have, and it's not a good habit to get into.
And I still, I guess, to the point where I'm at now, where I do make some decent money and I have all my own shit. I don't tend to, what I did with I got paid. When I got paid last month, and I was like, I'm going to get myself something that I want, something nice. You know what I bought? The first 2 books in the Clue series.
Oh.
Spent like $30. That's me doing something nice for myself.
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
I tipped a local grill man. I wasn't feeling good about myself, and I tipped a local grill man $60 because he made me a really good steak. I just wanted to do something randomly nice for someone. Like that's big stuff for me to do. You know what I mean? Like that's not. I just don't. I always felt like people win the lottery, and it's like you couldn't spend that much. 250 million. You couldn't spend that bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
I could spend that in. There are some things that I would love to buy that wouldn't be even half of how much I'd need to get the thing I wanted. But I always felt like I would definitely be the kind of person who would do okay having won the lottery because I wouldn't change anything. I don't even think I'd quit my job. I'd still do Cageside. I like it. It's focuses my energies, but I don't have shit that I want. And I'm not a materialistic person in any way. There's nothing that I sit here and go, I really wish I could have this. I don't care about that. That's not you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would what's that movie? Office Space? What would you do if you won the lottery? Fucking nothing. I'd fucking sit here. I would sit here and just bask in the reality that I don't have to do shit. Everything's taken care of.
Amen.
Get me a beer. All right, is there any other wrestling that we need to talk about before we get out of here?
I don't think so. We yelled about Ronda Rousey last time, so I don't want to do that again. We'll save that for next time.
Sean, how big is Batista's dick?
Bigger than a bread box.